Hello, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Welcome back to Bucks Latest, presented by FanArch.com. I'm your host, Dean Simon. Please consider liking, subscribing, turning on post notifications to stay up to date with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. Anyways, some positive news coming from Bucks on Sports Illustrated's Ryan Stano, who says that the Milwaukee Bucks could have a good chance of keeping most of their core group together past the summer of 2025, with the exception of their shot-blocking 2021 NBA champion center, Brook Lopez. So with all of the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade stuff still lingering around, there may be a possibility that Milwaukee hangs on to their core guys from the 2024-25 season. From Stano himself, he said, if they have to trade Antetokounmpo, then that will change how the Bucks decide to proceed, understandably so. They're looking at different ways to keep their core together for next year and beyond. If they keep Antetokounmpo, the Bucks will likely try to find a way to keep most of their core together. They likely won't be able to keep Brook Lopez, but they have some other guys they're looking to keep. He goes on to mention specifically that two guys that they're looking into bringing back are Gary Trent Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. Trent Jr. was the best player that the Bucks had in the playoffs against the Pacers, and boy, isn't that true. Gary Trent Jr. scored, a combined 70 points and shot about 17 for 29 on threes in games 3 and 5 of that first round series against the Indiana Pacers combined. He was just on another level, especially in game 5, trying to keep the Bucks season alive. He had shot, I believe it was 0 for 9 to start, and then he finished the game 8 for 8 from 3. I believe he finished 8 for 17. Just a ridiculous stretch. He really was, obviously, aside from Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best player, arguably on the floor in the series for the Milwaukee Bucks. And of course, it didn't. Nothing really came out of it. Of course, not a series win against the Indiana Pacers, as they lost in 5. But Gary Trent Jr. really showed something as the potential, at least, to become a playoff riser once the postseason hits. And the Milwaukee Bucks will be looking to bring him back, assuredly so, due to his incredible postseason performance. But there is a chance that he will, of course, be looking for a huge payday because of his sensational series against Indiana. And again, rightfully so. You can't light the world on fire like that in the playoffs, break Milwaukee Bucks franchise records, NBA records for like made threes in the playoffs, things of that nature, without looking to be paid for it afterwards. So Gary Trent Jr. will be a hot name to watch on the free agent market. He will, of course, again, according to Stano, he will be looking for about $8 to $10 million in salary per year going forward. And you can't really argue against a team approaching him and giving him that kind of salary after that performance, after the 2024-25 regular season that he had, where he shot well over 40% from 3. I believe he was top 10 in 3-point percentage this season, along with Taurean Prince. So Gary Trent Jr. will deserve that money. Unfortunately, he will probably receive that contract or that kind of annual salary as a member of another prospective suitor. But moving forward, a player that they mentioned in that little blurb, or that Stano mentioned, was Kevin Porter Jr., and he may see an expanded role in the Bucks 2025-26 rotation if he were to stick around, due to his sensational half-season output that he offered the franchise after he was dealt from the Los Angeles Clippers to the Bucks at the midseason mark. In 30 appearances, get this, the slithery guard contributed 11.7 points, 3.7 assists, 3.9 rebounds, knocked down 40.8% of his three-point attempts. So he just had a remarkable regular season. He showed some playmaking chops, showed some defensive upside as well, getting in passing lanes, just being more aggressive as an on-ball defender, a bunch of positive things that you would like to see from a guy who's really trying to keep a roster spot in the NBA, and he definitely proved himself worthy of one by the end of the 2024-25 season as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. But while his overall efficiency kind of cratered in the playoffs against the Pacers, he saw a sharp decrease in at least his field goal percentage and like his general stuff like that. He was still able to knock down 7 of his 15 attempts from three-point range, good for 46.7% accuracy, to pair with 11.2 points and 5.4 assists. Again, in the playoffs, Porter Jr.'s defensive capabilities really shined and were displayed in that series. And in the regular season, he also averaged 1.3 steals. So I feel like that also cannot be overlooked. In the postseason, his playmaking numbers, his assist numbers, again, averaged 5.4 assists a game in the playoffs, and that was coupled with some pretty low turnover numbers as well. He was able to keep his composure and prove that he could run the offense for the Bucks in the postseason. Again, going against an Indiana Pacers team that's not necessarily known for their defense, and it was just a first round matchup that the Bucks eventually lost in 5 games. But Kevin Porter Jr. really showed some stuff as a possible complementary piece to a winning team when a year ago, 2 years ago, you would not have believed that to be the case. Kevin Porter Jr. definitely proved a lot in his short time with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's very understandable to believe that Milwaukee will be looking to have him return on a team-friendly deal because of course, with Giannis coming back and trying to add other pieces around Giannis, they'll have to spend a little bit of money to do so. Moving forward, the Milwaukee Bucks X Factor might be someone that's a little bit unexpected, but Andre Jackson Jr., he's known for his insane athleticism and his dunking ability, but he still needs to improve at his finishing around the basket in a dire way. He had an incredible season from 3-point range. He shot about 39.5% from beyond the arc over the course of 67 appearances and 43 starts for the Bucks. But FanSided's Dalton Sell recently exposed one of the young guard's more important flaws. In Sell's words, despite his success at getting in the paint, Jackson struggled to connect when he wasn't right at the rim for too often. Per NBA.com stats, Jackson shot just 8 of 33 of his shot attempts in the paint, or on his attempts in the paint outside of the restricted area this past regular season. That's far too many points let off the board that could have helped this Milwaukee Bucks team. Jackson showed plenty of flashes and legitimate promise for Milwaukee this past season, but getting his rim finishing percentage up would be absolutely massive for this team, especially knowing the kind of athlete he is, a slam dunk contest participant. Andre Jackson Jr. definitely has a bunch of tools, a bunch of qualities that could help a competitive team, even if he were to just get spot minutes like he did this season, about 14 minutes a game or so. If he can continue knocking down threes at this kind of rate, he improved from 37% three-point accuracy to 39.5% from his rookie to sophomore year. If he can keep improving as a three-point shooter while maintaining this incredible athletic advantage that he has over plenty of other 6'6" guards/forwards in the NBA, his future is bright. His future for the Milwaukee Bucks could be bright, and he definitely still has a lot to offer in terms of how he can impact this Bucks team that is sorely missing out on athleticism heading into the summer of 2025. And of course, that's something that the team will likely look to change through trade, through free agency, in some venture, in some kind of transaction. So Andre Jackson's development, his continued development as a scorer, as a rim finisher, is definitely something to keep an eye on, to monitor as the Bucks head into the 2025-26 regular season. And lastly, to give a little bit of an update on recent Giannis trade rumors, Giannis to the Knicks has been building steam the last couple of days, and with this saga still ongoing, plenty of reports and proposals have been released saying Giannis should head to an Eastern Conference contender, and that's something that he wants. He wants to remain in the Eastern Conference, and of course he wants to remain competitive, and the Knicks could be leading suitors on that front. And on a recent appearance on ESPN's Get Up, former NBA player from the Chicago Bulls and current ESPN analyst Jay Williams spoke on the possibility of the Greek Freak landing in New York to pair with the Knicks superstar guard Jalen Brunson, and specifically for Brunson, how it could really positively affect him, not just in terms of winning, in terms of increasing his chances to win a championship, but with the potential of it possibly extending Brunson's career and keeping him healthy. So as Williams said, throughout the longevity for Brunson's career, due to the fact that he absorbs so much physicality, I don't need him to carry the load every single night during the course of an 82 regular game season schedule and into the playoffs. A guy like Giannis can carry that load, and actually I think their games are comparable together. They work together. Now, you're going to have to give up a lot of pieces and assets in order to get that, but I think that in the best long-term interests of Jalen Brunson, if you want to keep him around, Giannis is the player that I think matches that and helps sustain a longer career for Brunson. So, a pretty new idea in terms of Giannis trades, thinking, if he goes to the Knicks and he can be another guy that's just, brute force, he can barrel his way to the basket, same as Brunson does, and that's why he says that their games are pretty comparable, that he can kind of take the pressure off of Jalen Brunson's shoulders in a way where it could lessen his chance for injuries or to sustain lingering long-term injuries that can eventually cut his career short. It's a very interesting way to look at it from Jay Williams, and you can't help but agree. But even though a Giannis to the Knicks deal would require a lot from the Knicks, namely either Karl Anthony Towns or a package consisting of a myriad of pretty great players like OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, or Mikal Bridges. In this case, actually, Bridges could be the most interesting out of the trio in terms of trade targets for the Bucks, because he is due for a possible extension, and he could help the Bucks. He can lead the Bucks into the new post Giannis era, and of course Bridges would not be the leading guy on a contending team or even the second or maybe even third option, but he would be a fresh, talented face for Bucks fans to root for in the immediate aftermath of a stunning deal to trade Giannis away, arguably the franchise's greatest player. You know, of course, you can put it as a 1A 1B situation with Kareem, but you know, losing a guy like Giannis will hurt tremendously. But I would imagine it would be how Brooklyn Nets fans viewed Mikal Bridges in his lone season for the Nets. That while the team, of course, the future wasn't looking too great, he was still an entertaining player to watch. He definitely showed all-star potential as sort of the leading guy for the Brooklyn Nets. And he can do the same thing for the Milwaukee Bucks as they sort of transition to life without Giannis. Of course, that's not what you want as a Milwaukee Bucks fan, but in the case that it happens, and in some ways it feels inevitable, Mikal Bridges could be one of those guys that at least makes the transition to post-Giannis life fun for a Milwaukee Bucks fan. But anyways, that is all I have for today. Please consider liking, subscribing, turning on post notifications once again for Bucks Latest to stay up to date with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates, trends, and rumors going on around the National Basketball Association. Thank you very much for watching Bucks Latest, presented by fanarch.com. I have been Dean Simon, and have a great day. Go Bucks.